I told myself it was nothing, a fleeting moment, a trick of the mind. But in the days that followed, I caught myself noticing him more. His presence in the house, the way he moved, the way he looked at me when he thought I wasn't paying attention. It was subtle, but undeniable. And worse, I wasn't stopping myself from looking back. It started with small things. His lingering in the kitchen when I was making coffee. The casual way he'd lean against the counter, watching me with an intensity that made my skin prickle. He never said anything outright, but his silence was louder than words. One afternoon, my husband called from the office. Another late night ahead. I should have been used to it by now, but the disappointment still settled in my chest. I hung up, exhaling slowly, forcing myself to push past the emptiness that came with his absence. "You don't seem surprised." His voice startled me. I turned to find him standing in the doorway, arms crossed, a knowing look in his eyes. "I'm not," I admitted. "Work always comes first." He studied me for a moment, then smirked. "That's a shame." Something about the way he said it sent a jolt through me. It wasn't sympathy, it was something else, something dangerous. "You shouldn't talk like that," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Like what?" He stepped closer, his gaze never wavering. "Like I notice things?" I swallowed hard, willing myself to break the eye contact, but I didn't. I couldn't. There was something magnetic about him, something pulling me in despite every warning screaming in my head. "This isn't funny." His smirk deepened. "Who said I was joking?" I turned away, gripping the edge of the counter. I needed to end this before it started, before a simple moment turned into something neither of us could take back. "I think you should go out tonight," I said, forcing my voice to sound casual. "See your friends. Have fun." "I'm having fun right here." My breath caught. He wasn't playing games. He was pushing, testing, waiting to see if I'd push back or let myself be pulled under. I exhaled slowly. "Go?" A beat of silence, then a quiet chuckle. "Okay," he said finally, "but you should know something." I turned, and for the first time, his expression was serious. His eyes locked onto mine, unshaken, unwavering. "I don't think I want to stop." I should have been angry. I should have told him to leave, to forget whatever twisted thought had taken root in his mind. But instead, I stood there, my pulse hammering, my body betraying me with a warmth I didn't want to name. And the worst part? I didn't think I wanted to stop either. I avoided him for days. It was the only logical choice. I stayed busy, filling my time with errands, meaningless conversations with my husband, anything to distract from the way my body had reacted to him. But avoidance wasn't enough. It never was. One evening, I stepped outside for air, hoping the cool breeze would clear my thoughts. But there he was, shirtless again, practicing in the dim glow of the backyard lights. I should have turned around, walked back inside, but my feet didn't move. My breath hitched as I watched the way his muscles tensed with every movement, the effortless power behind his form. He knew I was watching. I saw it in the way he slowed down, in the way he stretched his arms, rolling his shoulders like he was putting on a show. And when he turned to face me, sweat dripping down his chest, that smirk returned. "You don't have to hide," he said, grabbing a towel. I forced a breath, shaking my head. "I wasn't hiding!" He took a step closer, closing the distance too easily. "No? Then why do you keep running?" My stomach tightened. "This isn't a game." "Never said it was." His voice was steady, measured. "But I think you're lying to yourself." I should have walked away, ended this before it escalated, but something inside me refused. Maybe it was the loneliness. Maybe it was the way he looked at me, like I was more than just someone's wife, more than a forgotten figure in a perfect house. "Stop," I whispered. It wasn't a demand, it was a plea. But he didn't stop. He reached for my hand, his fingers brushing against mine, sending a shock up my arm. My breathing faltered. I should have pulled away. I should have done a lot of things. "You feel it too," he murmured. I swallowed hard, every part of me screaming that this was wrong, but the way his touch lingered told me it was already too late. A clap of thunder broke the moment. The sky darkened, the first drops of rain splattering against the ground. I stepped back, my pulse erratic. "This can't happen," I said, forcing the words out. He didn't argue. He didn't need to. The look in his eyes said enough. It already was. I turned and walked inside, my hands trembling as I closed the door behind me. Rain pounded against the windows, mirroring the storm raging inside me. I pressed my fingers against my lips, where the ghost of his touch still lingered. I wanted to blame him for this, for pushing, for making me feel things I had no right to feel. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had been the one watching first. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt his touch, heard his voice, saw the way he looked at me like he knew all my secrets. I told myself I had imagined it, that the rain and the tension had made everything feel more intense than it was. But the next morning, when I came downstairs, he was already there, waiting. He didn't speak at first, just watched me as I poured my coffee, his gaze heavy, expectant. I could feel the tension stretching between us, thick and suffocating. My hands trembled slightly as I lifted the cup to my lips, and I hated that he noticed. "You didn't run this time," he finally said, voice low. I swallowed hard. "There's nothing to run from." A slow smirk. "You sure about that?" I wanted to shut it down, to put an end to this dangerous game. But then he moved, just enough to brush past me, his hand grazing my waist as he reached for the coffee pot. It was the smallest touch, the kind that could have been accidental. But it wasn't. I felt it everywhere. Heat flooded through me, an undeniable reaction I had no control over. I needed to get out of there, put distance between us before I did something reckless. But before I could step away, he leaned in, close enough that I could feel his breath against my skin. "You keep saying this can't happen," he murmured, "but you never say you don't want it to." I should have denied it. I should have turned and walked away. But I didn't. I just stood there, pulse hammering, waiting for something, anything to break the moment. And then it did. A sudden crash of thunder rattled the windows. The power flickered, plunging the room into dim light. The storm from the night before had returned, heavier, angrier. And so had he. His fingers curled around my wrist, a silent question. I didn't pull away. My breath caught as he pulled me closer, his grip firm but not forceful. He was giving me a choice, one last chance to stop this before there was no turning back. I knew the second I let him kiss me, there would be no more excuses, no more pretending. This would be real. And yet, when his lips brushed against mine, soft at first, then hungrier, I didn't stop him. I leaned in. I let it happen. The taste of coffee lingered between us, warm and intoxicating. His hands found my waist, pulling me flush against him, and I melted into the heat of his body, into the moment I had spent so many nights trying to ignore. I didn't care that it was wrong. I didn't care that we were crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. All I cared about was the fact that, for the first time in years, I felt alive. The affair should have felt like a mistake. I should have woken up drowning in guilt, sick with regret. But I didn't. I woke up wanting more. Every glance, every touch, every stolen moment in the quiet corners of the house became a secret that bound us together. He made me forget who I was, made me forget the life I had spent years carefully constructing. With him, I wasn't a neglected wife or a woman fading into the background of her own marriage. I was something else, something I hadn't felt in years, desired, wanted, alive. But secrets don't stay buried forever. It started small. My husband began noticing things, a shift in my mood, the way I seemed distracted. He wasn't the type to question much, too wrapped up in his own world to pay attention. But then, one evening, he came home early. I hadn't expected him. Neither had my stepson. I was in the kitchen when the door opened, my heart slamming against my ribs as I turned to see my husband standing there, watching me. There was something different in his expression, something unreadable. "Where is he?" he asked, his voice too calm. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to stay composed. "Who?" His jaw tightened. "You know who." Panic clawed at my throat. I glanced toward the hallway, where just moments ago my stepson had stood, close enough that I could still feel the ghost of his touch on my skin. I prayed he had enough sense to stay hidden. My husband stepped closer, his eyes scanning my face like he was searching for something. An answer, a lie, the truth. "You've been different," he said, voice quieter now, almost thoughtful. "Distant." I forced a laugh, shaking my head. "You're imagining things." His eyes darkened. "Am I?" A long silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken accusations. I knew in that moment that he didn't need proof. He had already put the pieces together. He just needed me to confirm it. The air in the room felt suffocating. My pulse pounded in my ears. And then, just when I thought I could hold it together, he took a step back, exhaling sharply, like the weight of realization had finally settled on his chest. "I don't need to hear it," he muttered, shaking his head. "I already know." The finality in his voice sent a cold rush through me. He turned and walked away, leaving behind nothing but silence. I stood there, gripping the edge of the counter, my breath unsteady, my heart racing. I should have felt relief that he hadn't demanded the truth, that he hadn't forced me to say the words out loud. But as I heard the front door slam shut, all I felt was the crushing weight of everything I had just lost,